I'm going to show you guys how to debone a bone-in split chicken breast. And that just means that they took the whole breast and then split it down the middle to get 2 pieces out of it. Usually one of the chicken breasts is a little bit easier to debone because it's the side that got sort of the smaller piece. At least that's what it seems like. So this one is a little bit tricky in that there's a few little bone spur pieces here that snuck in. So I'm just gonna, those are just coming away if I like pick them off. So set those aside. And honestly, I am not like chef de cuisine when it comes to meat, but I just use my common sense and a sharp knife. So you just kind of want to like run the knife along the border of the bone. And there is this sort of like cartilage piece that's not like a hard bone, but you are going to want to get rid of that. And then you can kind of just use the knife to follow the shape of the bone. And these are like the sort of like rib pieces of the chicken. And obviously you want to keep as much meat as you can with the main piece and just do your best. It's not a deal breaker one way or another, because what we do is we actually save these bones in a Ziploc bag and then we use them to make chicken stock, and it turns out really great. So I'm just kind of getting in and around these pieces you can see from the other side. So then here is where there is a little bit of a tricky part, is there's this kind of like knuckly part that kind of runs up through the top of the breast, and that part gets a little dicey. You kind of just have to cut it out as best you can. And you can see like I'm exposing it there, and if raw chicken is not your game, just forward through this part and skip on over to the boneless, skinless chicken breast. So I'm just gonna call it done there. Sometimes there's a wishbone, so usually you can just kind of prise that out with your fingers, and there it comes, part of the wishbone. Now I've got my boneless skin-on chicken breast, and you can see this part is the tender. This part does kind of come off over the course of the pounding, so I'm just going to gently remove it. It just comes right off, and that can just be marinated as is because it's already super tender. And yeah, I'm just going to do the same with my other chicken breast. If you want, you can also just kind of like tug. Once you get to past a certain point of cutting, you can kind of just like tug this part off, and you'll see that there is some meat that's kind of clinging to it. Again, like I said, that's why it's good to save these for stock. But then from there, it's a little bit easier. You can just sort of cut the bone away, and it's a little bit less dicey doing it all with the knife. So that's another option that works just as well. And I can kind of feel I'm hitting that wishbone again, so I'm going to get rid of this piece. And I see the wishbone poking out. I know it's a little gruesome. People just hate dealing with raw chicken, and I get it, but the quicker you overcome your fears, the better. Okay, see? Minimal damage done. Got it out pretty easily. There's my second split chicken breast, and you'll notice there's always one that's going to be a little bit bigger. This is a big one, this is a small one. So the last thing to do to process these chicken breasts is you may want to trim away some of this fat that can turn up close to the tip of the chicken breast. And there is a way that you can do that without getting rid of all of the skin, because when you grill the chicken, the skin will shrink. The whole point of this is to get juicier chicken. It's not a crucial step, but for example, if my mother were doing this, she would do that. So if you have folks who are anti-schmaltz, I don't know why they would be, you can take that extra step. Look at this chicken. I mean, if this isn't a big old vote for team skin on, bone in, I don't know what is, because the boneless, skinless chicken breast, there is no such thing as a skin on, boneless chicken breast out there unless you know your butchers.